As she was waving to her fellow Americans, she did not know that her life was about to change forever. She looked over to her right, and her husband had the biggest smile plastered to his face. Everyone around them was cheering, waving, and so excited to see them both strolling through the streets of Texas. The only thought on her mind is that we are exposed. John wanted everyone in Texas to see them personally. Even though they can't meet everyone face to face, he thought that it was better than nothing. In that moment, she could hear no noise. Everyone around them was completely silent. Suddenly, it happened. Boom! 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 She didn't even realize that a gun had been fired. She looked over to see her husband dripping blood down his body. Immediately, she scurries to the back of the car in fear of being shot herself. Once they drive off to safety, she grabs him immediately and holds his head close to her chest. What would she do without him? He must survive for her and his country. Without the leader of the free world, what would happen? What will the children do without their father? All of these thoughts were rushing through Jackie Kennedy's mind as she held her bloody husband and the President of the United States close to her heart. A piece of his skull was hanging out of his head, but that didn't stop Jackie from holding it back in place. Jackie would rather die than live without John. Would Jackie be so devastated if her husband died on her? What would she do without him? To the world, Jackie is devastated, and they didn't even realize that she was about to disappear from the spotlight she once held. What exactly happened on November 22nd, 1963? Why was President John F. Kennedy shot and killed? Who is the alleged killer? Jackie sits and ponders these questions while she is standing beside Lyndon B. Johnson, getting sworn into office after her husband has been pronounced dead. Her clothes still covered in blood, Jackie realizes that she should have never wiped the blood from her face. She explains in an interview conducted by Theodore H. White that she wanted them to see what they did to her. It wasn't until later that day that Lee Harvey Oswald was taken in for questioning concerning the president's death. Oswald didn't just change Jackie and her children's life forever. He also affected the country he lived in. To the world, this was a simple shoot and kill. In Jackie's mind, this was a personal massacre. Everyone thought that with the president's death, Jackie would have a lot to say. She did, just not to the public. What they didn't know was that Jackie's whole world came crashing down that November day, and she was holding on to her last pleasant memory of John. The media was surfacing, and Jackie was disappearing. One could ask the poignant question of why would someone so important to America run and hide? Camelot's missing pieces reveal some of Jackie's thoughts about her husband's death. Not until years later did the world get to see what Jackie was feeling on that day. Jackie was a good person that loved her country and her husband. She knew that everyone had enemies, but did enemies always kill? When Jackie wiped the blood from her face, she was ultimately wiping away her husband's memory. Jackie felt betrayed by America, so she decided to step out of the spotlight and into her own personal coma that she would never come out of. Jackie could have used the media to portray her negative and depressed emotions about the death of her husband and the nation's president, but ironically, she did quite the opposite. What many don't know is that Jackie never wanted to be in the spotlight to begin with. She knew that the White House would change their family for the worse. To Jackie, the White House was going to be the downfall of their family. The sad part is that she was right. Most common Americans dream of going into the White House. It is looked on as the most historical, sacred, and important houses in America. 34 presidents have lived in the house before. The Kennedy family. The Oval Office was a place for Jackie and John to confide in one another. Jackie overheard John talking about the Cuban Missile Crisis and decided to get involved. She knew that John felt very passionately about this issue and that he would rather die with his family out in the open than hide under a rock. Day by day, Jackie was watching her husband be one of the greatest leaders of the free world. This role came with a price that ultimately led to her husband's demise. Jackie went from being one of the most watched political figures to the most mischievous of them all. Not allowing the media to delve into her emotions left America's heart broken. America not only lost their president, but they lost their first lady as well. The media could not get their hands on Jackie Kennedy, and when White finally did, he still wouldn't release it until after she was dead. We see Jackie Kennedy as one of the most influential first ladies of all time. Jackie saw her world crashing down before anyone else could. John F. Kennedy's death shocked the nation. He was one of the most beloved presidents of all time, and Jackie was loved as well. She disappointed the nation when she disappeared. Many people would have used the media to send a message of grievance. Jackie sent this message not with words, but with silence. And now you know the rest of the story.